And welcome back to the AirMech 1v1 Love Hurts tournament presented by the Exiled Court, organized by Cynical Llama, brought to you by OPTVLive. I am Steve, and I'm pleased to once again bring you Wave 2. Well, technically Wave 3, but we won't count Wave 2 because that was an insta-fail of this game, Bracket G Best of 3 series, featuring lol2me versus Polarbearz in a 1v1 battle to the death. Both players are up one game. This match decides it all. Now, we did just go through a 17+ minute version of this game before, unfortunately, lol2me did disconnect. In the end, it was decided that Polarbearz did have an advantage, but not a clear, decisive victory. And Polarbearz, in good sportsmanship, decides to go ahead and remake the match rather than just kind of win on a technicality. Gotta respect someone that has that. And this time, absolutely no time wasted. 25 seconds into the match, we already have our first death. Not first blood, but first death. Unlike the last game where it took, what was it, folks? Almost 16 minutes before the first death happened. Well, this time it looks like it's going to be much more action-packed right from the beginning. Polarbearz getting ready, taking out his units. He is not going to build his units up on the side right here. He's going to get them out. He's going to pressure heavily into this outpost right from the very beginning. lol2me completely changing up his strategy as well. He's going to build in a more defensive position right from the start and essentially concede this middle outpost initially to Polarbearz. Let Polarbearz do the work, do the grunt work, neutralize out most of the stuff. Now, he does give Polarbearz extra XP by taking that approach, but it gives him, as you see, a huge decisive advantage as far as now positioning, because he had the better position. It forced Polarbearz, who was trying to get into the front of the outpost, and now have to pull back with some damaged units. Looking at their load, that's right here. LOL, 5 Geminis. Polarbearz, 5 Geminis. LOL, 2 Flackers. Polarbearz, 1 Seeker. LOL, 2 Ratchets. Polarbearz, 3 Patchers. It is like dead drawn even between these loadouts, between these two players. Polarbearz once again doing a scout, expecting to find socket units. He finally found one of the bot spawners. However, I still do find it interesting that this early in the match that LOL focuses on bot spawners. Normally the battle for the mid is not going to be something easily won. Personally, sometimes I wish that these games were being played and fought on LAN finals, so that way after a match was over, we could instantly sit down with these players and do quick interviews, asking them a few questions like, you know, why was it that you decided to build a spot spawner right at the beginning of the game? What was your strategy behind that? You know, why did you choose that instead of a blah blah blah, whatever the case might be. And who knows, folks, maybe one day AirMech will finally be big enough to rival the international of Dota itself. We will get LAN finals. lol2me flying right around his tank. Could have easily picked it up and saved its life, but he was so focused in on Polarbearz himself of trying to destroy him out that he loses that tank, sacrifices it in the process. Polarbearz already up to level 5, again using the same strategy that he did of the levelers. He wants to hit those high levels as quickly as possible. Already level 5, and this time Polarbearz is not going to waste any time. He instantly starts building these grinders right away. Will he go ahead and just drop these grinders down? Right now, LOL won't have enough. He will not have enough units right here to handle 3 grinders being instantly dropped down, and Polarbearz will just quickly eliminate everything out. LOL definitely needs to stay focused, stay determined, not lose everything. Polarbearz is going to push out. He's counting on the fact that that outpost is going to go under his control. It does. His tanks need to neutralize that outpost quickly before he can deploy those grinders. They're not neutralizing it quickly enough. Polarbearz will get his opportunity to deploy the grinders, and lol2me's defensive line will begin to completely crumble. LOL needs to get his units out of there because there's no chance that he has. It is equal number of Geminis, but with those grinders there in support, Polarbearz completely and utterly decimates LOL's entire lineup. And LOL now finds himself in a completely defensive position, completely different from the way going. The only thing that he still has going for his advantage is the fact that he's a Warthog itself, and that Warthog cannon does so much damage that it's still keeping him in the game, still keeping that Polarbearz hasn't been able to completely dominate the battlefield. 30 to 13 upkeep here, but Polarbearz really only has 3 Geminis as offensive units. Everything else is either anti-mech, healers, or the grinders, or the levelers. So LOL still technically not completely out of this. But right now, I still wonder why he would prioritize keeping that bot corner online. Why not sell it and get something else instead that could be just a little bit more beneficial at this current point of the match? Even so much as a roller, just something to try to act as some sort of meat shield against those grinders. A roller will not stand up any significant length of time against the amount of grinders that Polarbearz has. Did you change your loadout? Actually, no, he did not. This is identical loadout. Just last time Polarbearz did not prioritize grinders. Last time Polarbearz was more focused on hitting level 9 and going with the Devastators instead. But for whatever reason this time Polarbearz levels, even though with the one less leveler out on the battlefield, his levels became much faster this time. He is way up there. He is in a complete domination control of this battlefield. LOL trying to sneak some units by. So far, Polarbearz may not realize that they're not on his radar. They will just now start to pop up. And Polarbearz instantly... This guy has like a sixth sense. His units will come up on there, but at the same time, his LOL's units are coming through, but they're having to deal with the grinder and mech support. Meanwhile, all the Polar's units are actually over at the fortress itself, doing their own damage. There's not too many tanks that are in this mix, but it's still enough that this is causing tremendous amounts of damage to LOL. Meanwhile, LOL trying to fight back, but with just too many grinders, there's no way that his unit can do any significant damage. He's just trying to take advantage of what he can, but the damage is just happening so much faster on his end that he will not be able to out-damage all of these Geminis that are shooting in right now. You've got a total of 2, 4, 6 Geminis that are actually shooting in the fortress itself. The damage is happening. The damage is real. Polarbearz with all the grinders this time, ready to handle all this. And LOL still refusing to go back. He wants to lose this position. He wants to deploy as many tanks as he can, but it just, again, it will not be enough. And Polarbearz, after an unbelievable initial game 3 where these two guys were so head-to-head, Polarbearz this time will take a very, for lack of a better word, an easy victory in this game 3. We'll get the move on to the semifinals. lol2me, amazing gameplay today. Everyone give it up for LOL. He did an unbelievable gameplay today. Showed us some of his best sides and everything. Just, he was caught off guard. He didn't realize the last game that Polarbearz had those grinders. It worked completely to Polarbearz's advantage. And it gave Polarbearz an easy win. Folks, this is the 1v1 AirMech Love Hurts tournament presented by the Exiled Court, organized by Cynical Llama, and brought to you by OPTVLive. Don't go anywhere because we still have Game F of the quarterfinals to go through. All the hype, folks.